What's up guys, my name is Ace, and a growing topic that I've been seeing pop up a lot in the community lately for Modern Warfare 3 is that the Longbow sniper rifle is overpowered, and it's game breaking, and it needs some nerfs. Now, I've heard some people say that it's just the Jack Tyrant kit that needs adjustments, not the Longbow itself, whereas other people are just saying, no, it's the Longbow in general, it's broken, and it needs adjustment. So in today's video, I first wanted to take a look at some objective comparisons with the Longbow versus the other sniper rifles, and then I want to get into some more subjective things. I want to share my thoughts and opinions and my experiences with and against the Longbow. And toward the end of the video, I'll be sharing my opinion on whether or not I feel the Longbow is overpowered or whether or not I feel it could use some adjustments. So let's dive into the comparisons, and we're going to start it off with the range and body multiplier comparisons, or one-hit kill zone comparisons. And as we can see here, I'm sure this is no surprise to many of you, the Longbow is by far the worst in this particular category. It has the worst one-hit kill potential to the body by far. In fact, the next worst in the category is the KV inhibitor, and that has more than double the one-hit kill range to the body over the Longbow. So that's clearly a big downside with this gun. But in saying that, with the map design in this game, for many of the maps at least, it's pretty easy to keep yourself within that one-hit kill range with the Longbow at about 25 meters or so, or just over 30 meters if we're looking at the Jack Tyrant kit. And another thing I'll mention here is a lot of the complaints about the Longbow have come from people that seem to play a lot on these small map playlists. And that's where many of the complaints are coming from. So, while range is important when we're looking at overall versatility in a wide variety of situations, it's not the only factor we want to look at. Next, let's get into our rate of fire values. And just a reminder here, the rate of fire values stated in-game for bolt action weapons, those aren't accurate to what you actually experience in-game, so the values I'm sharing are the actual rate of fire values. And as we can see here, the Longbow is the second best out of all the snipers. The KV inhibitor is going to beat it out here since it is a semi-auto. However, it is worth mentioning, the base Longbow at least does have a bolt attachment that can bump that rate of fire up to 99 rounds per minute, which is very solid. The Jack Tyrant kit can't use that bolt though. And the KV inhibitor doesn't have anything to boost its rate of fire any higher than 130 rounds per minute. But mainly here, what I wanted to point out is the Longbow is about twice as fast as the XRK Stalker and way more than twice as fast as the Cat AMR's rate of fire potential. Additionally, another huge upside that we definitely don't want to be glossing over here is the fact that the base Longbow has a 30-round magazine capacity, and with the Jack Tyrant kit, this is still a 20-round magazine capacity, and that's pretty insane for a one-shot kill sniper rifle, and that really allows this gun to excel a lot in situations where you're being hyper-aggressive. You never really have to stop to think about that reload, you just keep going with your streak. Next, let's have a quick look at Hipfire. This is a factor that's worth mentioning, and in this case, I just want to show you the Longbow versus the sniper rifle averages, or at least Modern Warfare 3 sniper rifle averages, and we can see that it is very noticeably better than average with both minimum and maximum Hipfire spread. So your odds of being able to hipfire in a really close quarter situation and get consistent kills, that's going to be much better with the Longbow compared to the other snipers. Then let's have a quick look at our flinch comparison with the sniper rifles, just to see how much you will flinch when being shot by just a regular gun in this game. And as we can see here, the Longbow is the best in this category as well, and the KV inhibitor is the worst. That's actually one of the areas that holds the KV inhibitor back from being right up there with the Longbow. After that, let's get into our handling stats, since these are extremely important if we're looking at aggressive sniper rifles. And as we can see here, the base Longbow is better than all of the other sniper rifles, and then with the Jack Tyrant kit, that makes it even better. This recently got nerfed back to 470 milliseconds, but that's still by far the best. And not only that, our sprint out times are very noticeably better than the other sniper rifles as well. So again, if you're being hyper aggressive, this is clearly going to be the best choice for you. Now, that covers it for most of the important factors that we need to consider when comparing these sniper rifles. And it is pretty obvious to me that if you're looking at this in the context of being aggressive and playing on smaller maps, for instance, the Longbow is by far the best in this category. In saying that though, if we're looking at raw versatility and being able to use this on a wide variety of maps, like big maps and small maps, then at that point you can see there are a lot of trade-offs that tend to keep the Longbow in check. And this is generally not going to be the sniper rifle I want in my hands if I'm playing on Wasteland, for instance. In either case, there is one last thing I want to show a comparison of here, and I think this is actually one of the most important factors, at least for controller players, and that is the aim assist. It turns out the Longbow has a totally different style of aim assist compared to the other sniper rifles. The first thing to point out here is the Longbow is the only sniper rifle in the game that has hipfire aim assist. Not only are you getting aim assist slowdown when you sweep across a target, you're also getting rotational aim assist without even having to aim down sight. Whereas for all of the other sniper rifles, or at least Modern Warfare 3 sniper rifles, none of them have any aim assist whatsoever until you're aimed down sight. So you don't get that helping hand with the other sniper rifles if you're trying to sweep across a target, maybe like drag scope as you're aiming down sight, or maybe you're in a close quarter situation and you're in the process of aiming down sight and you're strafing and keeping your feet moving against enemy players. The Longbow is the only sniper rifle where you're going to get that aim assistance to help you out in those situations. Then, once we do get fully aimed down sight, there is a clear difference in the strength of how much that aim assist is grabbing you when using the Longbow compared to any one of these other sniper rifles. And this applies for both aim assist slowdown when you're sweeping over your target, as well as the strength of that rotational aim assist. And the conclusion that I'm drawing from this is it appears the Longbow was actually initially coded as a marksman rifle. I believe it was meant to be a marksman rifle at first, but then they transitioned it to the sniper rifle category, and it maintained marksman rifle level aim assist. So it has very normal aim assist for like regular guns in this game, whereas generally with sniper rifles, they have a totally different style of aim assist that isn't nearly as sticky or strong as what we would experience with like an assault rifle, for instance. And this right here, I think, is one of the key differentiating factors with the Longbow. Obviously, it only applies to the controller players out there, not so much with mouse and keyboard, but this is the type of thing that would go a long way. It makes it quite a bit easier to hit your shots on a more consistent basis when you have this marksman rifle level aim assist. And that's where I'm going to wrap it up for the objective comparison. Now let's talk a little bit about my experiences playing with as well as against the Longbow, both with and without the Jack Tyrant kit. Keeping in mind, of course, my experiences may differ from yours. For some people, I totally believe that they run into a whole lot of Longbow lobbies where there's plenty of people in each lobby using Longbows on a regular basis. That can largely depend on the region that you're playing in, the game modes that you play, and also your skill level. That could come into play as well. Whereas for other people, they may not see Longbow users much at all, or at least not good Longbow users. And in my personal experience, while I have been seeing more and more Longbows lately as this topic has continued to spread throughout the community, I haven't really found them completely taking over most matches. I have had the odd game here or there where I've got like 3+ enemies using a Longbow, and that can definitely be a frustrating game to be playing in, so I think it gave me a glimpse into what some people are experiencing for the people that do play against Longbow users a lot. But in general, for me, it hasn't really been like a game breaker. It hasn't been a massive issue. It's not one of my top complaints so far. So if you were to ask me, do I think the Longbow is overpowered and like a big game breaker right now and definitely needs some big nerfs? I would say no, probably not. Now, part of that might just be down to your definition of overpowered. I don't like using that word too loosely. For me, overpowered means like this is a severe problem and it needs adjustment right now, and I don't think the Longbow is at that point. However, I will say, I think the Longbow might be a little bit too powerful, and I definitely wouldn't be opposed to at least some adjustments to it, as long as those adjustments don't completely destroy the Longbow. And just to go a little deeper into that thought, if you put the Longbow in the hands of just an average player in the game, it's unlikely that they're going to perform better with that Longbow than they will with an assault rifle or an SMG, for instance. So there's definitely a certain amount of skill that's required to be really effective with the Longbow in this game. However, when you run into a very competent sniper in this game with a Longbow, that can be an incredibly frustrating experience. And therefore, perhaps the skill requirement needs to be bumped up just a little bit on that without totally destroying the gun. Because I want to be clear, I don't want quickscoping to go anywhere. It's a fun playstyle. It can be very enjoyable to challenge yourself and also just change up the way that you're approaching the game and the way that you're playing things by being aggressive with a sniper rifle. In saying that though, I do think if you are going to be quickscoping, it should be something that requires a certain level of skill to really excel at. And in the game's current state with the Longbow, I think that skill floor on using the Longbow effectively is just a little too low in its current state, and I would like to see that bumped up a bit. And the first thing I would do to achieve that goal is give the Longbow the same aim assist as all of the other sniper rifles in the game. You shouldn't have aim assist when in Hipfire, you should only have that when aiming down sight, and it shouldn't be as strong as a marksman rifle. It should be just as weak as the other sniper rifles in the game. Honestly, I think that would be a really good start without totally destroying the Longbow. However, if I wanted to take that just a little bit further, I think the other adjustment I wouldn't mind seeing is bumping up the flinch value a little bit. I don't think the Longbow should have the lowest amount of flinch in the sniper category, especially since you're going to be using it in close quarters situations where that little bit of flinch really doesn't mean a whole lot. So I wouldn't be opposed to them bumping that flinch up so it's more in line with the other sniper rifles in the game. In fact, I wouldn't mind seeing it go all the way up to where we're at with the KV inhibitor, because that would at least provide a bit more counterplay to a Longbow user. So if you start pumping some shots into them because you took them off guard, it's less likely they'll be able to get that quick and accurate shot off on you before you can even finish the kill. And I think those two things would at least be where I would start with a Longbow, where that wouldn't completely nerf it into the ground in my opinion. I think it would be a good start, and then I'd probably monitor it from there and see where things go. I don't think that would be too much of a nerf, perhaps that wouldn't be enough of a nerf, but I'd rather see some incremental nerfs to eventually get it into a nice balanced state, rather than completely nerfing it into the ground so then it's just useless. And there we go. Those are my thoughts on the Longbow situation in this game. I don't think it's quite as broken as some people make it out to be, but I will also acknowledge that it's probably a little bit too powerful in its current state, and I definitely wouldn't be opposed to some minor nerfs to just keep it in check a bit more. Now, of course, these are just my opinions, and I'd love to hear from you guys in those comments down below. How are you feeling about the current state of the Longbow in Modern Warfare 3? Do you think this is overpowered and could use some nerfs, or do you think it's just fine as is? Just let me know down below. If you enjoyed the video, a like rating is always appreciated, and don't forget to subscribe for more if you haven't already. I'll talk to you guys next time.